Hey everybody, welcome to my podcast, Clarita Live. My mission is to educate on holistic wellness, encompassing your body, mind, and spirit. Now, weekly, I provide insights into fitness trends, nutrition and wellness, and all the while I like to emphasize on loving ourselves, because isn't that what it's all about? The more we love ourselves, the more we can love others. And only by doing that can we really be this light in the world. And we need to have more light in this world. Look around you. I mean, it can bring you down unless you shift your attitude and you start uplifting yourself first. And the rising tide lifts all boats, right? So in today's podcast, I wanted to discuss body image. You know, the other day I put out a post on my Sit and Fit group, and I asked people if they wanted me to share a meal plan with them. And I was kind of surprised that I didn't really get a lot of feedback saying, yeah, I want a meal. A few people did. But you know what? I'm guessing that more people want a meal plan than those that made a comment and said, yeah, I want a meal plan, because most people are afraid to change their patterns and their habits. And when you say yes to something like that, you're actually committing yourself to rewiring your patterns. And that's a scary thing. I talk a lot about that in my book, I Am Imagination, Action, Memorization, because your body and your neurology likes patterns. It's a survival mechanism. It's the way the body can say, well, I don't have to think about that anymore. I got that down. The body memorizes certain patterns, and then it doesn't have to think about it anymore, and then it goes on with other things. So it's not a bad thing. The only time it's a bad thing is if you've patterned yourself to make the wrong choices and choose bad habits instead of good habits. I am dusting off my meal plan and updating it. I'm going to rename it to the Metabolic Reset. And I talk a lot about how you're constantly having to shift your patterns of eating, your patterns of exercise. It can't be the same old all the time. Now, the thing that I want you guys to understand is that we all have a perception of what our body looks like. I am not here to judge anybody. Some of us are thin, some of us are in between, some of us are on the scale and are obese, and that whole spectrum, there's a lot of stuff going on where your mind is wrapped around your body image. I kind of want to talk a little bit about what body image is. And in today's digital world, everybody's, with their selfies and putting themselves out and in the best light possible. I put on a little bit of makeup today. I don't always, but for the most part, when I do a long video like this, I do try to bring my best self to the camera. So a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of blush. That being said, a lot of people put themselves out on social media in such a way that they want to impress others of their self-image. And sometimes it's not congruent with what they think of themselves. And that's where things can get a little bit iffy, and that's where things can become a little problematic. Most of the time, when we're not accurately representing ourselves, and especially regarding body image, that's when trouble can start stirring. Especially if you already have a negative self-image about your body. Whatever complex you have about your body, whatever you wish you could fix, that can become an obsession. And we want to fix certain things that we think are going to make us feel better after those things are fixed. So you post something on social media and somebody says something about the way you look. The bottom line is people that have insecurities about their body image, it can be harming. It can be traumatizing that somebody makes a negative comment about you. Many of us are critical about our appearances, and we wish we could change some aspect of our body. We think we can feel better if we change this, that, and the other. But that's also the lure of extreme dieting, which is something I'm totally against. You know, when I said I want to share this meal plan with you, I don't want you to do extreme dieting. Remember, I am all about creating a lifestyle. You have to incorporate fitness and healthy eating habits as a way of living, and it can't be drastic and dramatic because you're never going to be able to sustain that throughout the rest of your life. The key is to figure out a formula that works for you, your self-esteem, it works for your body, and it's easy for you to maintain it long term. That's really what I like to talk about in regards to meal plans. The lure of extreme dieting and plastic surgery to alter one's appearance, it's become very popular, especially with celebrities endorsing surgery to fix whatever's wrong with you. Plastic surgeons love it, but again, I go back to be careful because everybody's starting to look the same. You know, everybody's got those narrow noses and everybody's got the plump lips, and it's kind of boring to look at the same face over and over again, and it doesn't distinguish you from anybody else. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying be careful. Do the best you can with what you got. You know, hey, I've done things to fix myself up. I fixed my teeth. They were buck when I was younger. I had an overbite, and I fixed that. I had a boob job because after I nursed, my perky little boobs weren't there anymore. But, you know, did that really make me feel any different? Not really. I'm the same person. It's just my perception of myself that changed. So let's be really, really careful about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Negative body image can have serious consequences. And if we convince ourselves that changing our appearance to be liked by others is going to catapult us to like ourselves, we're really misguiding ourselves. It's a common desire to have a different body type. You know, when I was younger, I was always on cattle calls for dance shows, and I was lucky. I was a working dancer in my youth. I worked a lot. I got a lot of TV shows and commercials and theater gigs, and I always wanted longer legs. I have short legs. I'm 5'1.5". Most dancers are 5'6", 5'7", and they were the ones that always got the work because there was always more work for chorus line stuff than there was for the front dancer or the prima ballerina. The lucky thing for me is that because I was small, I was a really good dancer, and so I would be picked for the front row or the prima ballerina. I wouldn't have to dance in the corps de ballet, or I wouldn't have to dance with the chorus line. I was always up front and center. So what I thought was a drawback was actually something that served me very well for very many, many years. So I'm grateful for my short little legs. They were sturdy and they were strong, and it got me front and center. But certain things we can't change, right? I couldn't cut off my legs and put on longer ones. So I had to work with what I had. Our bone structure, our facial features, and our skin tones are all unique to us. And wishing for something different can create emotional turmoil. It's important to understand that changing our appearance won't necessarily make us feel better. I'm a little older these days. I'm not in my 20s, and I'm not in that prime shape that I was in when I was a professional dancer. I have to eat right, I have to exercise regularly, and I don't have that hard body that I used to have when I was young, but I have a healthy body. I check out the lighting before I shoot myself so that, fewer wrinkles appear. I set the camera at the right angles. I do whatever I can to make myself look as best as possible, but never forgetting that the real me exists, and I honor her and I embrace her and I appreciate that she's taken me through this journey, and I'm still doing what most 30-year-olds don't take the time to do. I exercise regularly, I eat right, and I meditate every day so that my mindset and my attitude can take me to higher and higher places. And it's really interesting to me that when I pose that question to you guys to ask you if you wanted me to share a meal plan with you, the reason why I thought, gee, that's curious, not many people answered that, yeah, that's what I want. Did you know that Americans spend around $78 billion a year on weight loss? So there's a lot of people out there who want weight loss answers and solutions. And all that money that's spent on weight loss products and information, shockingly, 40% now, 40% of Americans are obese. Even though we know that obesity leads to diabetes and heart disease and so many other terrible diseases, we still have an epidemic of obesity in our country. According to a recent Milken Institute study, those diseases cost our economy a staggering $1.72 trillion a year. That's a lot of money being thrown away, people, because if 40% of America is still obese, you're spending money on weight loss remedies, solutions, services, and you're not losing weight. So something's got to give, right? And my take on it is that it's not just the diet. It's not just the exercise. It's a combination of the two of them and your mindset. That's what I'm always talking about. That's why I say mind, body, and spirit. We're constantly, I think, looking for that quick fix. And that's probably one of the reasons why things are so perplexing as to why that 40%. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better of people are obese. And I think that with all of the stuff that's going on online and get thin, quick schemes, those things don't work, but people seem to gravitate to them. I don't know, fad diets that are trendy, but ultimately they actually lead to more weight gain. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my meal plan, my metabolic reset, is that your body is like a thermostat when it comes to calories in and calories out. The body has a basal metabolic rate, what your body burns calorically for just your internal functions. I mean, this is when you're at rest. Your body's been metabolizing throughout your sleep. It's been keeping your brain alive. It's been keeping you breathing. It's been keeping your heart going. All of the involuntary systems that still work while you're unconscious, that is your basal metabolic rate. When you get up and you start doing things, your rate obviously goes up a little bit more because your body's burning more calories. But it's very, very important to know what your base is. That's why I talk a lot about measuring. I want you to start measuring yourself. I think I have a video in on my YouTube channel that teaches you how to measure. Measure your body. Take your measurements along your waistline, along your hips, along your thighs. so that you can see where you start and then how much you lose. The inches drop as you proceed through your workout programs and through your meal plans. If you don't have some kind of measuring tool, then you don't know from point A to point B. You don't know the trajectory of your progress. You don't know if you're getting better or if you're getting worse. So it's very, very important to set measurements for whatever goal you're setting for yourself. We're really at a unique point with technology, because I heard that there's this drug called Wegovy. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, and it's a high dose version of Ozempic, which is an injectable diabetes medication. It has shown positive results in weight loss, and it shouldn't be taken if it's not being taken for diabetes. But boy, it's really a dangerous world out there today. And anything that I talk about here, please, I don't want you guys going out and trying stuff on your own. Always consult with your physician before you do anything, before you do any kind of a change in your diet, before you start an exercise program. I really need to drill that down to you guys, because everybody's different. Nobody's the same. You and I are completely different. Like I was saying, we're shaped different, we're structured differently. So how your body responds to certain things are going to be different than how my body responds to certain things. So please make sure that you conference with your physician before you start any kind of a meal plan or an exercise program. We're all uniquely shaped and formed, and we come into this life and experience this fantastical journey in our own unique, particular ways. And I know that throughout the rest of my life, there are going to be metabolic changes. It just happens with age. As my age increases, then my metabolism decreases, because one of the things that happens to us as we age is not only do we change hormonally, but metabolically, our bodies change and slow down because muscle mass starts diminishing and bone mass starts diminishing. One of the most important things to do is to counteract that by doing resistive exercise. That means weight training or something like Pilates, where you're resisting force, whether you do Pilates on the floor or Pilates on a machine. But you need to use the push and the pull and the resistive movement, so your muscles are constantly being challenged. And that develops more muscularity. Not only does it develop more muscle fiber, but what happens is the tendons that connect to your muscles and connect to your bones, tendons connect muscles to bones. When your muscles contract continuously like that, then there's a continuous tug on the tendon that's connected to your bone. And so not only do your muscles start developing more density, but your bones begin to develop more density, because your mind, which is very, very intelligent, and you don't even know what's going on half the time, but neurologically, your body sends signals to your brain to start creating more bone mass at the attachment point, because that muscle is constantly pulling at it. So bone density increases, and because that muscle is constantly moving and contracting, then the muscle fibers get denser and denser and denser. And what happens? Well, when our muscles are denser, then the metabolism increases. So even when I'm at rest, my metabolism is wired to burn more calories. So those are things that I go over with you in my metabolic reset. My whole meal plan is based on that principle of creating more muscle mass so that you elevate your metabolic rate. And it's a combination of exercise and dieting. And when I say dieting, I really want you to be aware of the fact that I don't expect you to go on an extreme diet. I just want you to curb your eating habits and start looking at what it is that you eat. The first thing you have to do is you have to know what your base point is. Just for starters, like I said, go through my YouTube video channel and find that measurement video. I'll try and look for it and post it up for you. And then the other thing is I want you to start kind of becoming aware of the foods that you eat and the portions that you eat. And in my meal plan, I'll show you how to make the adjustments you need to make to really make your metabolism start firing up and burning up a lot of calories. I think I need to work with you as we do this. I don't want to just throw a meal plan up there and have you guys do it on your own without having a back and forth, giving you the ability to direct message me and ask me questions. I really want to see that you guys get somewhere with the Sit and Fit videos, but with this meal plan that I'm putting out to you. I've always advocated a holistic approach to weight loss. And I founded my business, Absolute Best Wellness Center in San Pedro, bringing all aspects of the body, mind, and spirit together for holistic wellness. And we want to prevent you from needing medications. It would be great if you didn't have to put any medicines into your body. I'm not saying they don't work. Many times it's really important to take your medication. Like I said, you must speak to your physician about what you're doing with your wellness program. In other words, if you want to stop taking meds, you can't just stop cold turkey. You've got to have some kind of a weaning process, and you've got to have your doctor watching you and monitoring you and making sure that you're doing things correctly. Stop needing medications. Your body knows how to heal itself. It really does. If you're somebody who takes the time to sit down and go inwardly and feel your body, you know where the kinks are. You know where the problems are. When you eat something, when you drink something, you know how it goes into your body and what effects it gives you, and it's usually a pretty quick turnaround. Your body usually tells you, that's not good for my body. I'm feeling cramps, or the next day I don't feel that great. So I want you guys to really start listening to the subtleties of the communication that your body has with your mind. And if that line of communication is open, then you're going to be able to really tweak your meal plans and your fitness programs to the point where, this is just right, like the three bears, the baby bear and the mama bear and the papa bear, and this is too cold, this is too hot, and this is just right. So that's exactly what being in tune with your body is all about, just finding that just right combination. There's a lot of people now that are advocating surgery for weight loss, and I don't know if that's the solution, people. Making your stomach smaller so that you eat smaller quantities of food. Gastro bypass may or may not work. I don't know. It works on some people. It doesn't work on others. And that's the people it doesn't work on are the people that won't change their lifestyle. They go through this drastic change of surgery, and then they don't change their lifestyle. And then they're back to square one, and even worse, because anytime you do invasive surgery, I had a doctor once tell me, a surgeon once tell me, whenever you cut into the body and you suture it, it's like a nice piece of material that's been cut and sutured together, and there's always a seam. There's always a little bit of gathering of tissue and gathering of scar tissue that starts building, and you're never the same. And if you feel that you need to go through that extreme kind of surgery, again, think about the fact that not only are you going to go through that change physically with the surgery, but you're going to also have to have a lot of work done mentally, psychologically, so that you change your pattern of behavior. And at the end of the day, if you're going to have to do that anyway, why don't you try doing that first before you go do something as drastic as bypass surgery? So we want to take care of ourselves holistically. Soon enough, insurance companies, I think, are going to start seeing the benefit of the healing process, healing in a wellness and a non-invasive way, as opposed to drugs and surgery. I think that more and more insurance companies are going to realize they're actually going to save money if they pay for acupuncture or chiropractic or physical therapy instead of paying for somebody to slice you open in a surgery room. Wellness and preventative medicine as opposed to drastic medications that lead you to have surgery. I think at the end of the day, we're all going to realize that prevention versus intervention is going to be the best way to go. It's going to bring costs of medicine and healthcare way down. So committing to a wellness program is the first step, right? And then having an accountability partner, having somebody who's going to say, hey, you have got to stay on track and I'll be your partner. I'll go train with you, or I'll go on this meal plan with you. Even if you don't have somebody that's going alongside you doing the same program, pick a friend or a family member and say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to this gym and I'm going to start exercising on a regular basis. Or I'm going to do this program and I'm going to lose some weight. And I'm going to exercise 3-4 times a week and I'm going to eat healthy every day. Make a contract with yourself and then share it with somebody and tell them what you're going to do. And stick to your plan, and then whoever it is that you count on as your accountability partner, make sure they keep you on track. And you know what? When it comes right down to it, you guys, you're responsible for your success. So even if you have an accountability partner, why don't you be the one that initiates the conversation? Why don't you be the one that checks in on your partner? Hey, how are you doing? Inevitably, your partner is going to say, how are you doing? And then you'll have a chance to be accountable. I'm gonna put notes down at the bottom. I've got my meal plan that I'm working on, and I was talking to you about the measuring. I found a calculator online that allows you to measure. I want to know what your metabolic rate is, because if we're going to do this meal plan, that's something you need to know. You need to find out what your basal metabolic rate is, okay? So there's a formula for that. There's a calculator that can set it up for you, and it can tell you what that number is. And when we have that base number, then we know what to work with as far as the metabolic reset. All right? So goodbye for now, and I am working on that meal plan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Mwah.